So as Mark Holmes is running around his backyard sacrificing chickens, wishing he had carbohydrates, the Philadelphia Eagles are preparing to do what they have to do to get better. They're preparing to draft a wide receiver. Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here. So today we have come with the hell is that? It's a big ass dog. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope you guys are doing well. You know the NFC East champs are here. The NFC East champs are here, and I had the great laugh of watching Mark Holmes respond to me last night. Boy, he's pissed. He's pissed. He don't like it. I got under his skin because he knows this belt belongs to us, and his Dallas Cowboys stink. They stink, and he wants it back. He's texting me, you better send that belt back. You better send it back right now. All this stuff. I'm like, I ain't sending it to you back, Mark. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you something else. I'm going to send you something that is fitting for the Dallas Cowboys and where your team has gone. It is fitting because they stink. They lose their best corner. They lose their best pass rusher. Your defense has got worse. And now the Cowboys are suffering through the curse of Mark Holmes. They're suffering through the curse of Mark Holmes. What do I mean by that? Well, Mark Holmes used to talk all last year. The Eagles are not going to be good. They're too old. They sign players over 30. You never sign players 30 or over. And if you do that, your franchise is a joke. They're a joke, and I love Dak Prescott, and I want Dak Prescott to live next door to me so we can ride around in a golf cart. I love Dak no matter what. Although Dallas doesn't even like him enough to give him an extension. They don't even believe in him enough, Mark, to give him an extension. And you're mad at me? I eat too many carbs. You're damn right I eat too many carbs. And that's why I'm always happy, and you're always in a mood. But here's the thing. You cursed your team, Mark. They're cursed. The curse of Mark Holmes has begun. Your team will not win a Super Bowl in the next 20 years. And I already have a Philly 500 curse on them. So this is a double curse. But because you said, and you talked about how the Eagles were too old and all this stuff, your team has done exactly what you said not to do. They've gone out, and what have they done? They have gotten McCoy, Dante Poe, bunch of guys in the 30s. They've done just what you said not to. So now, the curse of the Dallas Cowboys, the curse of Joe Boo, is upon the Dallas Cowboys, that evil, satanic team. This is what happens when you sacrifice too many chickens. The curse eventually comes back on you. Demons always trade. They're always betraying people, Mark. They're always betraying people. You can't trust demons. No more sacrificing chickens, Dallas. Stop it. We need the chickens for food anyways. We're under a pandemic here. But Mark, I'm not sending you the belt back. But what I will send you, what I have to send you, is something your Cowboys will need desperately. A cane. Mark, I am going to give this cane to you and your Dallas Cowboys team because you got a bunch of old guys. They're going to be chasing cars like this. Oh yeah. They stink, Mark. So this cane, it's for you. So I'll be sending this to you real soon, Mark. I'll be sending this to you real soon. Now, man, Dallas stinks. They really do. It's not even a joke. Anyways, had to get that out. Had to be said. Now, we got a lot of interesting things being said, being talked about when it comes to the Eagles, the draft, and the wide receivers. And I wanted to go over some of the stuff that I find very, very interesting. First and foremost, ESPN is reporting that the Eagles are expected to go wide receiver in the first round of the draft. Is this really a surprise to anybody? Of course they're going to go wide receiver in the draft. They've literally done nothing in free agency to bring in any other offensive players. I don't think they really have a choice, but you never know. It is the draft, and this could be a total smokescreen, okay? Maybe they go linebacker. I can't see it, but you never know, okay? I do expect the Eagles to go wide receiver, and I do expect the fact that the Eagles are sitting at 21, and every team, everybody in the world knows that the Eagles are going to go wide receiver in the first round means that the Eagles have to worry about everybody behind them trying to jump them, and teams that pick before them that may want to get a guy before they can get him are going to take it. Okay, I expect 4 wide receivers to be off the board by 21. Okay, so I think the Eagles will either trade up or trade back. I said this in one of my previous videos. I stand by it. I think that's going to happen. I think it's what's got to happen. Because look, think about this. Let's say you don't take a wide receiver at 21. Let's say you skip on it, okay? And you take, let's say you take Kenneth Murray, right? Because we all like him, or Patrick Queen. Love those guys. It'd be very hard for me to be upset if the Eagles did take a linebacker because they're so bad at it and they never take one early. But I don't think it's their MO, okay? So let's say they don't take a receiver. Well, now you probably have 4 off the board already. By the time you pick again at 53, you're probably going to have another 5 off the board. So now 9 receivers are gone, probably at the minimum. By the time you pick again, now you're picking what? The 10th, the 11th best wide receiver? I don't think the Eagles can afford to do that without getting a veteran presence at wide receiver, which I'm going to talk about in another video because I'm going to make it the case for it because I believe it's something they should consider. But right now, they haven't brought anybody in, and we can expect them to draft a wide receiver. Now, also today, another report came out saying that the Eagles are very interested in Henry Ruggs and Jalen Reagor. This makes complete sense to me. Of course, I'm the Henry Ruggs guy of YouTube, right? There's nobody a bigger supporter of Henry Ruggs than me. I think he's a stud. I think he's going to be really, really good. And it does not surprise me that the Eagles want Henry Ruggs. I'm at the point now where I feel that the whole CeeDee Lamb, to trade up for CeeDee Lamb, was a diversion. It was a diversion and a smokescreen to try to see what other teams all of a sudden would become interested in trading up for Judy Lamb, like the Broncos. Okay, we're hearing they want Judy now. 2 days ago they wanted Ruggs. Okay, so I think there's a lot of smokescreens, but I think the Eagles trying to trade up to get CeeDee Lamb, I think it was a diversion to really smoke screen everybody that they want Henry Ruggs. And by talking about CeeDee Lamb, you kind of maybe see other teams get aggressive about trading up because they hear the Eagles, and it kind of gives it away who you're going to have to go against in trading up. But I think the Eagles would trade up for Henry Ruggs. I think that's the guy that they're going to try to trade up for. Okay, and it makes sense to me that they would be interested not only in Henry Ruggs, but Jalen Reagor, because let's say the Eagles can't trade up in round 1 to get Henry Ruggs, right? Well, the best option at that point would be to trade back and take a guy like Jalen Reagor. They could do that. And you're getting a similar type player in a lot of ways to Henry Ruggs, but maybe just, not as good. But Jalen Reagor would be another option for them. So I could see the Eagles draft day, they're on the phone, calling up teams, trying to trade up. It's too much because look, the Eagles aren't going to overpay, and they shouldn't, okay? They should do something that's reasonable, and I think they're going to try. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think they're going to try, and if it fails and you can't get Ruggs, trade back, get some picks, take Reagor. That's exactly, that makes perfect sense. Now, me personally, I would trade back, or I would take Denzel Mims, but that's just me. We're going to get into Denzel Mims in a minute because there's a lot of talk about him, and I want to put my 2 cents in on about that, okay? But to try to trade up for like Henry Ruggs. Then if you can't get him, trade back for a guy like Jalen Reagor or Brandon Ayuk, as far as I'm concerned. Hey, makes perfect sense. So I think there's something to the reports that the Eagles will take a receiver. I think that the trade talk about going up and getting CeeDee Lamb was a smokescreen to hide the fact that the Eagles want Henry Ruggs. And I think now we're kind of understanding that if they don't get Henry Ruggs, they're going after Jalen Reagor. They are looking for that kind of wide receiver in this draft, which is smart. And, it's going to be interesting, The other thing we're hearing a lot about is how Carson has a big say with what happens in the organization with the receivers. And usually in previous years, he works out a lot of these receivers so he can give his input. I'm sure he's still giving input. And I think the fact that you hear so much about speed, the Eagles want speed at wide receiver, speed all over the place. I think Carson has some say in it. I think he wants guys more like Deshaun Jackson and less like Alshon Jeffrey. Just makes total sense to me, in my opinion, okay? So that's what I kind of think. Now, the last thing I want to talk about real quick, Denzel Mims. I am getting flooded with, dude, Denzel Mims does not want to play in Philly. He's scared to come to Philly. He's scared of Philly. He doesn't want to, he's soft. He don't want to do it. And I think this is so overblown. It's not even funny. I don't think that Denzel Mims does not want to come to Philly or would not want to play in Philly. When you listen to the interview that Adam Kaplan did, okay, with him and Jeff Mosher, shout out to those guys. I love their podcast. I listen to it all the time. But I mean, they were saying, they were asking questions, and he said when he came with his coach, who was Rule at the time, he came to Philly. He had never been to Philly, and it was intimidating to him, and he was a little bit scared and intimidated at first, but he got over it. You know, he's not saying, I'm still scared to go there or whatever. I don't think that's what he's saying. No, I was just think he was saying the first time he went, it was intimidating. He was a little bit scared. I get it. He comes from a small town. He didn't come from a place where there's a lot of people. Believe me, people who, like I remember my wife, right? She's from the West Coast. I'm from the Philly area. The first time I took her there, she was a little surprised how big it was. It was a lot bigger than you think. I mean, I remember driving cross country, right? And you go, you know, you have New York, Philly, DC, Baltimore. You have these cities on the East Coast. Then you go out west and you go by like Indianapolis or cities like that. And they're small. They almost look like just big towns, not even real cities. So I can understand why a guy from a small town, a real small town, would be intimidated by a big city like Philly for the first time they go. It's nothing to worry about, people. It's nothing. Now, if he's still scared and things like that, okay, that could be a problem. But I think this thing is so overblown. I don't think he was saying, I'm scared to go to Philly. I'm scared to play for the Eagles. I'm scared to be in that town. I think he was saying, the first time we went, it was a big change for me, and that was it. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as everybody thinks. But that's just my opinions with the whole thing. So, anyways, let me know what you guys think about all these things. Eagles going to take a receiver. Eagles interested in Henry Ruggs and Jalen Reagor. Eagles let Carson Wentz, have say in what they do. Denzel Mims, is he scared to come to Philly? Let me know in the comment section. Should be back either Monday or Tuesday with another live stream. Of course, we're streaming the draft. So hit that subscribe button, click the dingbat bell, and I will definitely talk to you guys later. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Don't be a dingbat.